Good morning, YouTube! This is Rockhead from Virginia Rockhead. Today is Wednesday, so that means we've got our Keno Hall barrel and our internet purchased rocks barrels coming up. Trying to make this video short and sweet. So let me get these cleaned out and we'll see what we've got. Okay, so here is the contents of the Keno Hall barrel. Everything's looking pretty good. We just put this in last week. Got this spot on it, but man, that is starting to look good. That's a big old piece too. Let's see how that labradorite looks. It's kind of finicky sometimes. This piece of amethyst is looking really good. I saw this already. So let me go through here. We'll see what's ready to move on and what is not. I can tell you already that we will not be adding any rocks today because we had a lot of grit left over from last week. So we're just going to go over here and see if anything's ready to move on. Talk about a few rocks of interest. So give me a minute to get that together. Okay, so this is all ceramic tumbling media, and most people don't put the tumbling media in the first stage, which is the rough grit. I kind of have a lot of it here, and the reason why is I'm trying to make up for having those two big old geodes in there and hopefully using up more of the grit, although as stated earlier, did not do a good job last week. Though I did throw away a rock or two. We did have some grinding action, so we have a smaller amount of rock in there now. So we're not going to add anything this week. We'll just take a look at these. This geode right here is we've been looking at it for a while now. It's just grinding away. That blue quartzy looking stuff. That's what we want the whole thing to look like. Got the crow in the background. He's mad at something. Here's the new geode. We just put that in last week. That's what we want the whole thing to look like right there. Let's see, here's some of the sunstone. Rock. This was actually together like this, and I saw it look kind of fractured, so I just pulled it apart real easily with my fingers. So back in the tumbler it goes. Not real happy with this stuff. It might find its way to the trash can. We'll see. Here's some labradorite. This is a pretty good little show-off piece. This piece, this side's not nearly as good. Labradorite is finicky that way. Here's the piece of agate that I found at Saddle Mountain in Arizona. It's starting to look pretty cool. I like that pattern that it's developing in there. Here is the ruby and zoisite. I actually just ordered some of this. It will go in the other barrel, but it's looking pretty good. I just like that color, the ruby with the green and black spotted rock. These are the thunder eggs that we just put in recently. This is a cut one. Looking pretty good. There's the other side of it. Here is a non-cut one. Try to get that tumbled down to a nice pretty color like that. Maybe a marble that looks like that or something. Hopefully bigger than a marble. This is some more of that thunder egg stuff. Doesn't have that real nice agate look to it, but it's still kind of cool looking. I pointed this one out earlier. This is my best amethyst right here, and it is going to move on this week. And the last one, we looked at this already real quick too. This is the Purple Passion that we just put in last week. This, as you can see, is a pretty big piece, much bigger than a golf ball. That side's looking pretty rough. That one's got a hole in it, but it looks cool, so we'll definitely deal with that. It looks kind of like a mask, maybe. That's a stretch. Never mind. Anyway, that's it. Now I am going to move a few rocks on, so give me 1 second to get that organized. Okay, so these are the rocks that are moving on. We've got some blue tiger eye here. It's not doing its thing yet. Hopefully it will after it polishes. I did say earlier, just a minute ago, that I was going to move this one on, but I didn't see that at the time, so that actually is not getting moved on this week. Moving on to Kambamba. This stuff just doesn't get perfect. Those eyes and everything, it's just never going to be perfectly smooth, but it looks pretty good, so we're moving it on. These rocks like this, it's just never going to be we're either going to grind it to nothing or just try to polish it now. So I'm going to try to polish it now. This piece, so the Labrador right here is naturally kind of a fragmented type rock, so it's just never going to be perfectly smooth, but this one looks pretty good, so we're going to move it on and see what happens. So that's it for the Keno Hall barrel. Stand by for the internet purchase barrel with the Tumbler's 15-pound barrel. Okay folks, I just wanted to show you a few things. This is the Tumbler's 15-pound barrel full of internet purchase rocks. We're gonna rinse that out and do a progress check on this, but it was down there squeaking away on the tumbler, so even though I did do my monthly maintenance, it's squeaking. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give it a little shot of oil under all 4 of those little nylon bushings there, and hopefully that'll take care of the squeaking problem. And then there's this. This is 45 pounds of 3570 tumbling grit. This is the rough grit. This is rougher than what I have been using. I was using 80 grit. This is 3570 grit, so it's rougher. So it should grind a little faster than the 80 grit. I've used up all my 80 grit and buy it 45 pounds at a time. This 45-pound bag that you're looking at cost about $100, and you know, depending on what size your barrel is and all that stuff. But yeah, 45 pounds, $100. So let's check out the inside of this barrel and do a progress check. All right folks, here is the contents of the internet purchase barrel. looking real nice. One of my favorite Botswana agates right here. Sun might be just a little too bright right now. Look at that banding. Okay, so we're not going to do this right now. All right, I am going to go through this barrel here, see if anything's ready to move on. We'll talk about a few rocks of interest and we will be done. Okay, so we're just going to talk about two rocks real quick. Batman's eye still has that problem right there under his eye, so he will not be moving on. And this is the azurite malachite that I put in there just last week. And you see this big old fracture right here, so I just grabbed it and pulled it apart. So far, the azurite malachite not looking so good. But we'll throw it back in the tumbler and see what happens. So these rocks are moving on. It's hard to see with this glare. So some of these rocks aren't perfect. That's got some beautiful banding on it, which is why I'm moving it on. But it's also got that. But in order for that to grind out of there, that's about, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch deep. This entire rock would have to grind down a 1/16 of an inch. And I'm not trying to sacrifice those beautiful bands for one little imperfection. So that remains true with a lot of these. We already looked at this one. Almost got some beautiful banding on it. I mean, the top there is not perfect, but we're going to move it on. A lot of this moonstone here, it's just a very fractured rock, so it's just not going to be perfect. It's also getting kind of small, so we're moving it on. This sea jasper, this is desert jasper that I bought from Rough Stone LLC. I will never buy it from them again. It's not perfect either, but it's awful thin piece, so we're going to move it on. We're not going to review all of these rocks. This is a nice piece of moonstone here. You can see it doing its thing. Once again, not perfect, but we're moving it on. This thing right here has all sorts of imperfections all over it. It is one big imperfection. But the pretty part is smooth and ready to move on. This part, the rock will wear down to nothing, so it's moving on. A lot of this leopard skin jasper, it's just real rough by nature. You're never going to get it smooth, so you just have to decide when to move it on, and I have decided to move this piece on. So pretty much just more of the same for the rest of the stuff. Let me see what we got here. This right here is a Botswana agate whole nodule. I'm going to try to throw that into the barrel this week. I'm pretty sure we'll have room for that. And if we have any room left over, I will try to get rid of this polychrome jasper from Rough Stone LLC. And then if we have any room still, we will try to add some of this Mexican fire agate. So I guess we'll do one more shot to see what we're able to add. Okay, folks, so we were only able to add, I got Dabo and Katana here. We were only able to add the Botswana whole nodule agate. If you liked the video, folks, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, please. Like I said, we were only able to add the Botswana whole nodule, nothing more. Coming up later this week, Rockhead Jr. and I hope to do some rock hounding. Right now I'm going to go button up that tumbler's barrel and give those nylon bushings a little shot of oil, so hopefully it won't squeak anymore. So that's it for today, folks. Thanks for watching.